Essex Porter, welcome. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on your retirement after 39 years. Wow.
Thank you very much. 39 years at KIRO 7. I can't say it was the plan, but it worked out.
When you say it wasn't a plan, what do you mean?
Well, I'm not a Seattle native, and I there were other jobs that I was interested in that would have taken me from Seattle. I didn't get those jobs, so I just continued working hard at KIRO 7 and adopted Seattle as my home.
So let's talk about your life and times here. Where'd you grow up, and where'd you get the interest about being a reporter?
I'm a military kid. I'm a native of Chicago, but I did not grow up there. I grew up in Okinawa, Japan. We had a couple of tours there. We had a couple of tours at Fort Riley. Also grew up in Junction City, the town next door. I was fortunate to get to Hawaii for my senior year in high school. So I'm a graduate of Radford High School in Hawaii. And I attended the University of Nebraska because it has a really good journalism school, now a college of journalism these many years later.
Wow. Were you interested in being a reporter from the time that you were a young guy?
No, I won't say I was interested from the time that I was a young person. I was really more interested in being a scientist, a chemist, or something like that. But I will say that as I look back on it, a seed was planted when President Kennedy was assassinated in November of 1963. And then it was a whirlwind of coverage of the assassination, and then ultimately the funeral a few days later. And just seeing that, I think, imprinted on me the importance of news, the importance that it has to everyone, that it was really interesting, really fascinating. And I didn't really think at that moment I wanted to be a reporter. But looking back on it really decades later, I think maybe that planted the seed, because that meant, the Porter family always watched the news after that. I always watched the news. So I grew up watching Walter Cronkite and a lot of other news. And so I think that just planted the seed.
Yeah.
Over the years that you've covered Seattle, I mean, you're one of the people that have really chronicled Seattle. What was the one story that you covered in all these years that really changed you? I mean, that was so dramatic that it changed the way you thought about things.
I think, for all of us, the policing and police accountability stories have changed us, maybe more in a gradual way, but in a definitive way. I think the advent of citizen video, police body cameras, has shown us that there's often more to the story than we used to get in the statements from police. So, to that degree, it has made us, question more. But is that a real dramatic change? I think it's more of an incremental change, based on the events and the technology that shapes them. A story that opened my mind to more possibilities was the story of the former mayor Ed Murray, who ended up resigning over sexual abuse allegations. I would not have thought that was such allegations and such very credible allegations would have been possible for any of the politicians that I'd covered. And so, I thought that was sort of a low possibility. Uh, you know, some of the sexual harassment Me Too stories didn't have at top of mind. But now that has opened my mind to those possibilities. I would say, I'm less likely. I'm still likely to be shocked by such stories, but far less likely to be surprised.
You had the moniker of being political reporter for KIRO. Why did you want to cover politics? What was it that drew you to that? Or was it the assignment you got? Or was it something that you wanted to do?
Oh, no, it's something I very much wanted to do because, it is a thing that affects all of our lives all of the time. Politics affects all of our lives, truly shapes our lives, shapes our city, our state, our country. And so that's one reason I want to cover it. The other reason is, as a reporter, I just want to be there for the first draft of history. I just want to be there when history is made. That's what I want to witness. And a lot of that history is made in politics. Whether it's the historic election of the first African-American president, whether it's being at the Republican convention, which I was fortunate to be at when Donald Trump was nominated.
Oh my God.
Your response reminded us that our history doesn't necessarily go in one direction, does it?
No, it doesn't.
But I just want to be there for the first draft of it, to be that eyewitness to history, and that's what I've loved. So it's covering something that is important to our individual daily lives, and then for me personally, that first draft of history.
So what made you decide that now was time to retire?
Well, and let me be clear. There's nothing I'm upset about or mad about or leaving, with some sort of any kind of bad feelings. And I will say I was pleased and touched that bosses did ask me, if I was sure I wanted to retire and I could stay if I would like to. They were very great about that. But I've been a full-time television reporter since 1978.
Wow.
And I did have a great break for a fellowship at the University of Chicago in the mid 80s. But I just thought it's difficult to see what other possibilities there might be when, at least for me, when I was, 1,000% focused on doing a good job every day. And, I'm not sure what else may be out there for me. And there may not be anything grand else out there for me, but after so long doing the very same thing, I just kept reminding myself of, Congresswoman Maxine Waters reclaiming her time. And, when you're doing daily journalism, your time belongs to the newsroom, really. I mean, even when you're not necessarily working, you're always thinking about something. You're always making sure that we don't miss something. I just felt like after a long career, and remember, we don't know what's in the future for us. We don't know how long we'll be healthy. We don't know how long we'll have choices. So I thought it was a good time to retire. I had actually had chosen a contract that expired at the end of 2020, so I could cover the 2020 election. But then we were in the middle of a pandemic, and I had to put humility aside a little bit and think, there probably aren't as many people left in the town that have had connections through a couple of generations, and people might like to see a familiar face with some of these stories. At the time, I was doing a lot of Olympia coverage and a lot of coverage of the governor. And plus, who wants to miss a big story? I like to
oh, yeah, this is a big story. There's no doubt about that.
You know, like I say, I like to be there for historical events, and so I asked if I might stay another year, and they said that that would be fine.
And listen, enjoy retirement, because it's a time to really just enjoy yourself. It's fun, actually.
You can do
All right.
stuff like this.
There you go. Yeah. Essex Porter, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.